Look, here's the truth. If you just want to lose weight or look better, there are shortcuts. It's true. However, if you want to get fit, healthy, confident, you want to feel good, not be stressed out about it, have it become the way you live and feel good about it, there are no shortcuts. It's a process. It's a journey. That's the only way you'll get there. Again, if you just want to lose weight, don't worry about it. There are shortcuts, but you'll gain the weight back. You won't be happy. Do it the right way. Take some time. Fact.
Don't take the easy path.
Yes. I was thinking, this conversation's coming up because, it's always a conversation in our space, right? And I saw someone do a post. It's like, there's no shortcuts or whatever. And I said, we got to get better at communicating that, because there are shortcuts to, losing weight quickly, or like you starve yourself, right? Or building muscle, or, just changing the way you look. There are quote unquote shortcuts. But you'll gain the weight back. You'll lose the gains. You won't feel good. You won't feel confident in it. It won't feel like it's a new life in the sense that you're relaxed into it. Doing it the right way means it's a process of learning and growing, not just applying techniques, not just changing your diet, but rather growing along with that process so that you become a new you. You don't just look physically different, but you are a different person. That's the only way to do this, to where it sticks with you forever. Mm-hmm. This is something that you don't have to struggle with for the rest of your life. And that's a great selling point, I think. I think it's like, how would you like to get in shape and never have to struggle with it anymore? Doesn't that sound awesome? Well, here's how we do it. And it takes time. No shortcuts.
Do you think in our lifetime, we're going to see like a tool that will give you like real-time feedback on if you're staying the course, if you're on like the right track as far as doing what's metabolically healthy for you? Here's where it gets challenging is sometimes I don't think people necessarily, I don't think they think they're taking a shortcut. Like I don't think when they crash diet and overtrain, like they're thinking they're shortcutting it at all. Right. In fact,
it's a real hyper-focused, concentrated effort, but it might not be, what's appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you're alluding to by talking about shortcuts, but I think a lot of like the failure in the diet world and exercise world is just failed application and over application, right? Like the overusage of intensity, the overusage of calorie restriction. I think that more often than not, it has more to do with that than it has like somebody like, oh, this is going to be quick. Now, not to say there's not those people, because there's absolutely people that are like, give me the quick fix. And I had those clients, right? I don't care how I get there, Adam, just give me there as fast as possible. So there absolutely is people searching for the quick fix. But I do believe that a lot of the failed attempts have more to do with just the wrong application or the wrong process.
I think people, they know there's a right way, and it takes longer, and it takes behavior change, and there's no shortcuts. I think people know that. If you were to ask them, they'd say, yeah, that makes sense. But I think the hard part, or the part that they don't necessarily understand, is that doing it, like, because how many times have you heard this? I'll figure that out once I get there. So, I know that there's a way to do this to where it's sustainable. I know that there's a way to do this that's the quote unquote right way. But once I lose the weight, then we can talk about this. And that's the part that I'm trying to communicate is there is no other way. There literally is no other way to get where I'm talking about, except for the way that I'm the path, the right journey. There is only one way to get there. You're not trading speed for difficulty or anything like that. It's like literally, you want to get to this place. If your destination is look better, feel better, be more healthy, be confident in it, and relaxed in it to where it feels like this is how I live and this feels good. There's only one way to get there. That's the point that I'm trying to make. And that the other paths, the other paths don't even lead there. Forget how fast you get there or not. They just don't even lead to that same destination. They lead to other destinations is the point that I'm making.
Okay, stay with me on this, but this is a Lightning McQueen reference.
Okay.
So he's going around and decides to stay out on the track when, in fact, he should have gone in and pitted multiple times to reinforce his tires, to tune it up, to make sure he's got enough gas.
That's actually what happened at the beginning of the movie.
Like he makes it to the finish line busted up and broken. and to the point where it's like he can't do another race. And I don't know, in terms of like a visual, that's like the first thing come to mind. It's like people are so myopically focused on this like destination goal and achieving this thing, and they're not like picking up on all these other signals that like once I get there, you know, there's all these other challenges that I'm gonna have to face that I didn't anticipate because I didn't, you know, studiously go through this and listen to a lot of these signals.
Well, I think it's, and that's where I lean. Like, I think it's less people trying to take a shortcut, and I actually don't think they believe you. You may make a really smart scientific case, Sal, on this is the way. This is the only way. This is the right way. This is the healthy way. Let me break it all down for you. And they can't get past, well, yeah, but in the back of my head, and they're not saying this to you, but their cousin Susan, she dropped 30 pounds in a month. Yeah. I saw it with my own eyes. Yeah. So you can tell me all the science you want. I believe.
You have to experience it.
Yeah. So at least that's how I have felt my career communicating the right way, the science, is I don't think it's like my clients or people are going like, oh, I just want the shortcut at them. I think it's more like in their head, they don't believe me.
Yeah.
They still believe there's another way or a better way or the way they want to go because they have a said person in their life that they've seen firsthand do this and they want to do that.
That's why we have to communicate.
They've created the expectation already in their mind.
And that's why it's just so important. I mean, look, the data on this, I mean, it's all the same. About 90% of the people that lose weight, not even talking about all the nuances of health and fitness, just lose weight. 90% of it gain back within I think a year or two. And I would bet that if you stretch it out long enough, it's closer to 95%. So what that means is, and this is where I think people go wrong. They think they're the special case, they're the magic case. But the reality is, I think that 10% that stick to it are doing it the way I'm talking about it. I think that's what it shows, because 90% of people don't do it that way. 90% of the people do it the quote unquote shortcut way, and so you're 100%. Odds are you're going to fall back. It's not going to stick. Look, if you took someone who it took them 10 years to, let's say, become a black belt in a martial art. If you could snap your fingers and give someone all those skills that it took that person in 10 years. So now you know as much as they do instantly, they still are not the same person.
No.
They're still not the same. Yeah, you know the moves, but the process of learning, there are things within that shape and mold you as a human that you can't replace. You can't replace that. So,
I use that analogy with business, finance, money. It's the same thing. You could give somebody $10 million overnight, and they're just as wealthy as the guy who took 40 years of his life to build $10 million. And then technically their net worth is the same, but they're completely different.
They're going to mismanage it.
The person that had to build, to work to that.
To build the skills.
There's skills and behaviors that have to be accomplished in that time to acquire that kind of worth or that net worth. The person who just got handed to overnight, regardless of the fact that they have the same exact buying power for that day, they're not the same person.
No, Doug, maybe you could look up what's the percentage of lottery winners that go bankrupt? It's pretty interesting. I mean, these are people in millions of dollars.
It's the same as the Biggest Loser numbers. Yeah. It's almost identical to those. It's like 70% or high 60s.
Yeah, 1/3 will go bankrupt within 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. 1/3 in 3 to 5 years, and these are millionaires.
Yeah, if you follow them longer, it gets higher too.
Like millionaires.
It's the same stats. It's like it's literally that's why it's such a great analogy, because it runs parallel to obese people that lose 100 pounds. The ones that do it the Biggest Loser style, that boot camp it for 3 or 4 months and extreme diet. Their success rate is extremely low. And honestly, the only ones that are successful, let's say that it's because they finally figured out the right way during that time. They got lucky enough. Somebody finally came across, said, listen, you need to build muscle. You need to build a metabolism, and a light bulb went off and then they fixed it. It's not because they continued going down that same path that got them there, because that's unsustainable. Yeah. That's a losing battle no matter what.
And by the way, part of it too, I think this is another factor here. When you're not fit, unhealthy, overweight, whatever, you ignore it for a while. Okay. You ignore it for a while, but then something happens. Maybe it's January, it's the 1st of January, or maybe you see a picture of yourself or something happens, right? You go play with your kids, you're out of breath. And then you become hyper aware of the fact that, man, I'm overweight, or I don't like the way I look, or whatever. And then it's a rush to get out of that uncomfortable feeling. That's a lot of times what happens. It's like, okay, now I finally made
It's
the
like
decision.
panic, yeah.
I need. Now that I've made the decision to lose 50 pounds, and now I'm facing it head on, I can't wait to get this off me.
Right.
It's got to get off me as fast as possible. That's
Gotta
the other
make
part of
up
it.
for lost time.
Yes.
It's like this, insane urgency.
And that's why, like, the whole self-acceptance movement went so backwards. Right? Self-acceptance is not. I don't need to change anything. There's no improving me. I'm great. If you think I need to improve, or if I think I need to improve, I'm hating myself. No. Self-acceptance is self-compassion. I care about myself the way I am. I'm not perfect, and I'm going to pursue caring for myself in better ways. Then what happens is you're not like, oh my God, get me out of this body as fast as possible. I'll do anything, because it's more like, okay, let's do this in a compassionate way. Like, I wouldn't do that to a kid. Like, I wouldn't do that to my kid. Like, oh, now that you're ready to lose weight, let's get this off as fast as possible and beat you up. I'd be like, listen, let's do this the right way. Let's make sure that this sticks, that you feel good throughout this entire process. And that's how we have to treat ourselves. Today's YouTube giveaway is Maps 15. To enter to win, leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. Also, this month's sale, Maps Strong and Maps Powerlift, both half off. If you're interested, click on the link at the top of the description below. All right, back to the show.
I've caught Justin doing that in the bathroom in the mirror, saying those positive affirmations as he rubs Caldera on his face. You deserve this. You're so beautiful. Take care of your skin.
Just own it.
You're so great. You're so gorgeous.
Just let it radiate.
Yes.
You sit there.
I'm doing this because I love myself.
He's speaking the truth, dude.
You got to do those affirmations.
That's why it's like, it's the only way to get him to do it. You know what I'm saying? I can't get him to be consistent with it. It's the only way.
Nobody else is going to pump me up here.
Real quick, listen, that, by the way, for people who don't know, there's an inside joke there. I literally one time was in the bathroom. He did not know I was in the bathroom. He comes in, and I know because I can see his shoes, and he goes, they don't even know.
They don't even
know. And I'm like,
that's how the shirt.
And he's like,
That's how the shirt was born.
Yeah.
The t-shirt was born. They don't even know. They don't even know.
we must have
I was
annoyed
all
the shit out of him.
jacked, right? Yeah.
We must have pissed him off or something. He goes, those
I've decided that's what he does when he puts the Caldera on too, because it's like he's like begrudgingly putting this on, this freaking man cream.
Yeah.
Put this man cream.
Well, I have
on
to
my
do it.
face.
Yeah, I have to do it in isolation because this is not like a bonding dude experience.
Dude, hey, listen, speaking of success or whatever, over 90%. So they've funded studies. I've talked about this before. They've funded studies on their face oil.
Yeah.
Over 90% of the participants saw improvements across the board in their studies.
Yeah.
In terms of fine lines, wrinkles, dryness, oiliness, blemishes, evening up. Like, that's crazy. You don't see that with
Well, we
products.
have, we work with 20 plus companies or so, right? That we've worked, definitely more than that over the course of the podcast that we've had. And I've never had somebody message me about not being happy with it.
Yeah.
And that's rare. Obviously, you do as much volume as we do with as many partners
You're
as
going
you
to get
do.
one.
Yeah, there's always somebody who I feel like is unhappy. Caldera is actually one of the brands that I've never had somebody message me that has used the product and has not been happy with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that speaks volumes considering it's not a cheap product. It's an expensive product for what you get, even though it lasts a long time. But it's well made, well done, and you never get anybody who's ever complaining about it.
We were talking earlier about obesity and whatever. I saw something on social media. Doug, I just sent it to you. If you could post it up on the TV. Men's Health is portraying this like male fitness trainer and calling him like I don't know what they're calling him, fitness trainer of the year, something like that, right? Maybe Doug, you can pull it up. And it started a bunch of controversy. And I got on there and had to comment because people are going crazy in either direction. So this is the guy. This is Men's Health. Scroll down, Doug, so you can see what he looks like. Okay, so this guy is a trainer in Men's Health. And it says, and he put a post, he said, I love watching fragile gym bros. Scroll down, please. I love watching fragile gym bros lose their mind when they find out I'm in Men's Health magazine as a plus size personal trainer. So as you can,
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Why does he have his shirt off?
So we have plus size models. Now they've made it into personal training.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
So of course the comments are super polarized, right? On one end, oh, good for him. He's fit. He's working out. He's trying. On the other hand, it's like, you can't be fat and be a trainer. This is terrible. What the hell's going on here? They're trying to make obesity, healthy when it's not, type of deal. my take on this is I love your guys'.
This is like the first male version of this, I think.
Yes.
I've noticed. Yeah. Because, I mean, this is a big push with females.
By the way, I don't know this guy. I don't know anything about him. Okay. I just look at the picture. I've seen overweight, like at this body fat percentage men who have a lot of muscle.
Yeah,
and they look
strong.
different.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He looks like he's just overweight. I don't know the guy or whatever, but he just looks like that. So here's my take on this. First off, you could be an overweight trainer and have tons of knowledge and be an excellent coach. The problem is this. One of the biggest hurdles when you're a trainer or a coach is getting your client to trust you. That's one of the biggest hurdles. And when you appear to be a hypocrite, which means you don't look or talk or walk the part, you've just made that hurdle so much bigger. So if you're trying to talk to a client about being fit and healthy, and by the way, there's a lot of ripped trainers that are very unhealthy too.
I see that you wrote that in your post. I think you made that very clear. Which we've talked about. I want to find his actual page. It's his name is Raw Egg Nationalist.
Is that what?
What does that mean?
Raw Egg
Nationalist?
Yeah. Did you see that?
Went bad.
Isn't that what it
No,
says?
No, that's somebody.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's somebody else who was posting.
Oh, that was someone else. His name is Roy Belzer Fitness. So ROYBELZER Fitness.
Roy
Belzer
BEL
ZER and then Fitness.
Belzer.
Yeah.
Okay, I got him now.
But yeah, if you're trying to train people and the appearance is that you don't practice what you preach.
Yeah.
It's much harder to get them to trust you. That's been my experience with trainers, who've worked with me. So,
well, I mean, especially if their desired outcome is to lose weight, be healthy and fit. Like, I see some grace with, I guess, sports coaches for like just drilling and very specific skill development because they have a knowledge base that is way, they have way more of an acumen there than most. But even then, it's like, come on, take care of yourself. But still, I mean, I think if that is like your desired outcome is to train people and to acquire these clients based off of what you say and what you want them to apply, I would hope that you're doing the same, and that's just like a common sense thing.
Yeah. And maybe you are, maybe you've lost a lot of weight. Maybe this guy was, 500 pounds. Now he's down to 250 pounds or whatever. But
and in that case, I think that's a different thing.
But again, a client, they already think, if they think you're a hypocrite, it's going to be impossible to get them to follow your advice and to work with them. It's gonna be very, very difficult. So that was my whole argument around this. Because I had a trainer once. I actually had a guy that worked for me who I recruited him from, believe it, of all places, Foot Locker. So I went in there, this dude selling me shoes, super personable, great guy. And then we start talking. He's like, what do you do? I'm like, I manage a gym down the street. And he goes, man, I just lost 80 pounds. And we started talking. And I'm like, bro, that's an amazing story. And he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about becoming a trainer one day, but I need to lose another 20. He still had a little bit of weight to lose. I said, you could become a trainer right now. He got certified and worked for me. And he did amazing. And he continued to get more fit as he worked. But he did great because he was able to connect with people who were on that journey.
That's the majority of my issues. Like if there isn't any perpetual like improvement, like they're not recognizing that they're still working on themselves too. It's like, I'm just accepting the fact that like, this is my body. I'm happy versus like, trying to exemplify health.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a reason why we chose not to go the shirtless before and afters, and because I think that either no matter what, regardless if you're ripped or you look like him,
that's not the metric to pick.
It's the wrong. It's just I find it a bit ironic that that's the person he's still using that same. You're using the same angle.
Yes,
you're using the same.
It's how I look, and
it's just that's now become popular that there's a group of people that are going to.
Good point. He's still using the look at me angle.
So it's the whole thing. It's like
I'm like, why does he have
no
his shirt off?
There's no need for you to even present it like that. Like. You don't have to take your like I went down his Instagram too. He's got a ton of shirtless and thong underwear stuff and just like, it's like and he's like a mobility guy, right? So it shows he's got pretty good hip mobility for as big as he is and stuff like that. And I didn't see him lift any weights or anything like that. He can do a pirouette on the Bosu ball, but it's same. He's using the same tactics. As
by the way, these Men's Health and stuff doing this, they're 100% doing this for the outrage and the clicks.
such an annoying formula.
It's a brilliant strategy on their part. I mean, it gets people talking, and I mean, listen, it just shows you how desperate these magazines are because they're dead.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Nobody cares
That's
about
why they're doing
that entire. So it's like they're just grasping for anything they can get a hold of that will create controversy, conversation. And they're just playing right into these people and this concept of like, okay, you're right. Like, you know, the way you look doesn't matter. So then don't post it. So don't make it about that.
Exactly.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's so ironic that's your angle, but then yet you're no different than the bro you're making fun of who walks around with no shirt on and, you know, gets a massive pump and waters himself down before his photos.
Virtue signaling points, in today's environment.
It's a very strange environment.
Imagine being the poor kid though who's trying to figure it out through all this. Like, I don't know what to believe. Yeah. I don't know if I want abs. I don't know if I want a belly. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Women actually like dad bods. Like,
I don't know.
Look, I'm fit already. I don't need to do anything.
So silly.
Anyway.
But I agree too. Like, I mean, I think I definitely think the message should be about strength and building muscle and getting stronger and being confident and all those things.
Healthy
performance and just feeling good. Because again,
all sorts of distraction.
And I did make that comment. Like, there's a ton of ripped trainers and influencers who look the part, but they're unhealthy.
They're just as dysfunctional. There's different dysfunction.
Right.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I just think it's just different. It's nonetheless.
Dude, speaking of fitness, did you guys look into that Equinox $40,000 a year membership?
I did.
Did you see what they're doing?
I did. I like it. I think it's a really
it's all longevity treatment stuff.
Bro, it's brilliant.
It is brilliant.
It's absolutely
and they're the right gym to do it, right? Because they already appeal to like a more expensive clientele, and so I think it's smart. And I think that we are moving into this time. I think we're seeing this when the anti-aging boom, right? That we see with peptides. You see all this stuff.
Plus,
You have all these companies now that have all these preventative tests that you can take to look for potential cancers, and they're all expensive, right? It costs thousands of dollars to do some of these tests, and I do think that we're moving in this direction of preventative medicine, and you're going to have to take these, and then why
a big part of it is, of course, people want to prevent these things from happening, but the other part is, as expensive as they are, they're cheaper than actually getting a chronic disease.
Sure.
So like you spend $40,000 a year really optimizing your health. You know how expensive it is if you get Alzheimer's or diabetes, or just from a productivity standpoint, but even the cost of your healthcare and then the cost on the quality of your life. So it makes perfect sense. And when I read this, I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, $40,000 a year. Who would pay that? A lot of people. Mm-hmm. A lot of people. This is what it comes with. You get, first off, they do this huge diagnostic test that tests like 100 different data points. You get it's $40,000 a year. You get a trainer, a massage therapist, somebody that works with your nutrition, and they test you twice a year with these big tests that they do.
They also have like some other weekly stuff that was going on there. They outsource it's a company that they hired that outsources some of basically they're going to have like basically you would have your own. What it's brilliant about, and I think this is why it's so smart, is in extreme sports, we see this kind of fringe stuff always hit first because they're multi-million-dollar athletes, and so it makes sense to take chances and spend millions of dollars with cutting-edge science. But after that science starts to prove, and you see people like the LeBron James, who's playing 20 years in his career, and he looks like a 20-year-old still out there playing, like that starts to raise a lot of eyebrows. People go like, what is he doing? Maybe I can't afford $1 million a year, but $40,000? And I could get a lot of the treatments and the things and connections to all the therapies and stuff he's doing. Like, yeah, you better believe there's going to be people that are going to be interested. I mean, when we were down in the stem cell thing, I was blown away by the amount of people that and then we were surrounded around athletes and famous people and stuff like that. But there was a lot of normal people that were in there.
It is not inexpensive.
And
we had clients that spent that much on us. We had clients that spent $40,000 a year.
Oh, a year, yeah.
I had clients that would work with me, twice a week. They'd get a massage therapist once a week, which was in my studio. They'd work with the gut health specialist once a week. Yeah. I mean, you add up all those sessions. That was
personal chef, like making a meal.
I mean, it sounds really crazy, but again, why I use the analogy of like LeBron James, like obviously that guy, if he extended his career by 5 years, he got an extra, hundreds of millions of dollars more in his pocket. Mm-hmm. I mean, bring that down to the CEO level or the person who's a high performer or has to go do huge presentations and does sales and does stuff like that. And it's like, man, if 40K investment into your health gets you 15% return on a better version of yourself and your business, I mean, it pays for itself.
Well, and really, again, when you look at chronic disease, once you get these chronic illnesses, it's very hard and sometimes impossible to reverse them. Sometimes all you could do is stop the progression, or at best, many times it's slow the progression down. But when you get this chronic disease, the only way you could have solved it or cured it is if you had a time machine. If you could go back in time 5 years or 10 years or 15 years and then change the trajectory of your life. And then when you get these chronic diseases, like, you know, I have people in my family, or I know people like this. You ask them. I remember my grandfather telling me, he said, you know, he goes, when you get old and you start to experience certain things, like you would give all your money to get rid of, you know, just back pain, you know, chronic back pain where you can't move.
Or 5 healthier years.
Or 5 healthier years. Or, you know, I had 2 heart attacks. I know somebody had 2 heart attacks.
Differently, I wouldn't be so prone to dementia. Like that's like something that ran through my family. And it's like, they don't even think like that. Like switching and adjusting lifestyle things could have such a bigger impact.
Yeah,
we're going to see it though. Like, you know, it's interesting because we're in this interesting generational gap here, or whatever you want to call it. Like, it's like becoming more and more popular. And it's like, imagine when you have 2 or 3 generations where there's very controlled groups of like, these people did nothing. Yeah. These people did something.
Crazier split.
And then it's game over. Then it becomes adopted. Yeah. Then it becomes put in schools. Then it becomes like, because right now we're still in the testing grounds, and obviously we're in the thick of it. We're in the space. And so we get a little bit of, I think, a more of a front row seat to what's happening. But just wait until we can. I mean, it's like when I talked to Dr. Khan about the stem cell stuff, and it's like a lot of the stuff he can't even talk about and promote because it's in still such early stages. Yeah. But the things that he's seeing positively around cancer and all these things that are the stem cells are helping. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, imagine when we have these people that did this stem cell, spent this crazy money on stem cells, and we follow them out 40 years, and then we have their peers who didn't do any of that stuff and watch the difference.
You know, speaking of cancer, besides like not smoking, like the best thing, you ever talk to a cancer specialist, what's the best thing you can do to not get cancer? Don't smoke, right? But in terms of things you can do, strength training by itself, you don't have to be a bodybuilder, you don't have to do anything. Like you lift weights a couple days a week. You will drop your chances of getting cancer across the board by a fourth. You will reduce and you change nothing else. You could change nothing else. You could still, you sleep, whatever, you don't eat, or you eat bad, whatever. If you just lift weights, you will drop your odds of getting all cancers across the board by about 25%. Wow. Just from strength training alone. So it's like, dude, it's, and here's the beauty too, by the way, here's the selling point. When you really figure this out, you're not sacrificing time now for time in the future. So you're not saying to yourself, because I think people think about it this way, like, I'm really hating life now. That way I could live a better life when I'm older. No. When you do this right, it makes now better too. It makes now better, it makes tomorrow better, and it makes 10 years from now better. So it's like no trade-off. Yeah. It just makes everything better across the board. Yeah. We just haven't done a good job of selling it. I say we as the fitness space, because I feel like we have done a good job selling it, but
learn how to enjoy healthier habits, and like healthier decisions.
Speaking of that, you guys excited about Vegas? Or what? Speaking of healthy
totally habits, goes in line with healthy habits.
Thanks. I'm psyched, dude.
Are you guys excited?
I'm psyched.
I'm really excited.
I'm psyched. You know what we always hear?
It'd be a nice change of pace.
You know what we always hear? I always hear this from people when they meet us at these live. We haven't had one in a long time. We had one recently here
for trainers.
For trainers. We get this all the time. You guys are a lot taller in person. Do we look short on camera?
We're sitting down all the time.
A little slouch.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Do we look? You know what's funny? You know who looks short but is super tall? Conan O'Brien.
Oh yeah, he's
a giant.
Huge.
So are we like that? Do we look small?
Is Conan O'Brien really tall? How tall
is he? 6'7", right?
No, he's not that tall.
6'5"?
Is he really? Look up his height. Look it up. I didn't know he was that tall.
You might be right. He's big, dude.
He's 6'4".
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm all 3 inches off.
Yeah, that's a lot.
He's a little bit taller.
Substantial.
Still, he's tall. I mean, he's tall.
Though,
To your point, he's tall.
Maybe it's his hair. It gave him an extra 3 inches.
Well, I'm bad about. I like slouch in my chair too all the time. Like by the time the podcast is over, I'm like this.
I know. These chairs promote that though. Yeah, like half the time. Like
you slide down. I'm all
people have no idea you're actually 5'10". You look so much
with heels. That's right.
I'm excited, dude. I'm excited for this event.
Bellagio too.
We're gonna
meet
listeners and fans. We haven't done that in a long time.
Simultaneously,
such a freaking blast, dude.
Simultaneously, there is going to be a peptide convention that Dr. Seeds and his team is holding.
I'll be speaking at it.
There's supposed to be over 500 doctors that are going to be there. We saw, Dr. Tina is going to be there for sure. I believe Dr. Gabrielle Line is confirmed she's going to be out there. Max is supposed to be coming
doctors.
out. I was just talking to Jordan Shallow about him coming out, and Jordan Syed. So I'm trying to get some of all of our buddies to. I mean, Vegas is such a great place. To convince everybody to come hang out and meet. It's like, I wanted to go.
We're in it for the good time.
Yeah. And if you attend the event, so it's mindpumplive.com, you can sign up, and then we're going to do a raffle. And 5 of the ticket owners are going to watch Justin perform at the Thunder from Down Under. Is that the one that you're?
Do you know this?
I didn't know this.
He's got hella thunder.
We can't handle this thunder.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. No, but we should have tickets available in this area.
Yeah. When does this episode go out, Doug? Is it what week?
It's the Thunder Clap.
Yeah, on May 16th.
Okay, you still have
does
time.
the Thunder Clap.
That's actually almost exactly 1 month, right? 1 month out.
Yeah, 1 month out.
Awesome. But yeah, it'd be really cool because I don't know how many people will also be going to Dr. Seeds event, but I'm excited even for that too. I just think that
I'm speaking at it, right? So I was thinking about so I don't get nervous for speaking to crowds until the day before, and then I get really nervous. So I can talk to a camera all day; it doesn't bother me. Put me in front of a crowd, and I can start to get. So I was thinking, I was like thinking about last night in bed, like I'm gonna be speaking to 500, most of them doctors.
Yeah, doctors.
So I think that makes me less nervous, to be honest with you.
Less nervous than talking to your peers, trainers.
No, trainers, I feel never nervous because that's our peer. I've been talking to groups of trainers forever. But like everyday people, I think makes me a little more nervous than speaking to doctors. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, if I had to rank me personally, I'd say doctors would make me the most nervous, then just regular people. Trainers is like, I feel so at home talking to trainers.
Well, you've been doing it forever, bro.
Yeah.
You managed trainers for decades.
So that feels so at home.
Yeah. Well, I am going to be speaking about strength training and communicating it to doctors. I trained doctors for so long that I got really comfortable communicating in that style, that fashion. So that might be part of it. And it's also, far out. Like when I get closer, I'm sure I'll be hella nervous. So who knows? But last time I was thinking about it, I was all psyched about it. I'm like, I know
you're the best one to talk to him. That's for sure.
I know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm going to get all nervous.
I know. No,
hey, dudes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. You guys want to get jacked like
Is
me?
that what? Okay, so of all the things that we have to do here, right? Yeah. So what are each of your least favorite things that you guys have to do still? I think we've done a really good job of the business.
Yeah, we all do. We all
siphoned it off.
Yeah, we've really.
Well, you know why though? I mean, what's the key behind that? Right? You're gonna suck at doing shit you don't like. Yeah. So why would we want any of us to do shit we suck at?
Right.
You're good at some things. You're good at some things. I'm good at some things. Like. Why would you want me to do the shit you're good at when you're better?
But is there anything left that you're like, I don't like? I mean, we still drag you in meetings that you don't like to be in.
Yeah, no, that's hard, bro. I'm embarrassed about that. I am. I swear to God, I'm embarrassed because I'll sit in a meeting.
I try and shame you out of it. That's by publicly shame him whenever maybe he'll start to like him. Shame. Wake up.
It's not that I hate meetings. It's that it's so hard for me to sit still in a meeting
that
so
bored.
It does this weird thing to me where I either get extremely distracted or I start to fall asleep or whatever, and then I feel rude. Yeah. And I'm like, it reminds me of being in school. Yeah. If I was in school,
it's
9
so
out of 10 times,
me and you would have got in trouble all the time. Because I'd be drawing things, showing you. And, you'd be falling
It's so
asleep.
interesting to me though, because you guys are both, and you too are very much so, competitive about the business and the success of it and the growth and all
we
that stuff.
trust you, bro. We trust
That's
you.
what it is.
You're
high levels of trust and respect for each department.
When I'm on a podcast, are you at home sweating like, oh, what if Sal says something? You're relaxed, chilling, right? Yeah. That's how I am. So we're blessed that we have each other that I could just chill and
so there's nothing left? There's nothing left in the business? There's got to be something that you're like
speaking in front of crowds makes me nervous often, but I want to get better at it. I want to be as comfortable as I am in front of the camera. When I talk to a crowd.
Yeah, I find that interesting because I'm reversed.
One thing at a time.
I hate that even more.
The camera?
Yeah. Put me. I've actually. I would probably say I would
tough.
be less.
I know you're always so mad when we have to do like.
Get real, especially if it's creative. Adam's like, just tell me what to do.
I do not.
He gets hella mad.
I do not
He
like.
doesn't want to do anything creative.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't like doing the. You know what? It's just something about staring at a camera, pretending that there's millions of people looking.
Yeah.
I'd much rather them be in front of me and deal with the real nerves of them being in front of me. I think I'm more comfortable with those nerves than the pretend nerves. I don't know what you call that.
We should dress one up as a robot. Maybe that'd make a difference.
Yeah, put like
talking to some
put like 4 or 5
face in front of it.
Yeah.
No, when you put a camera on me, I could just turn it on. It's not a problem. It was like that from day one when we shot the commercial for Maps Anabolic.
That's why you're a front
I remember he
man
turned the
with that,
camera on and I felt it and I went, "Whoa, I like this. This is
Somebody's
this
just
feels
listening to me.
good. This feels good." No, I already had that. Can I watch the video again?
What about you, Justin? Is there anything left that you don't like?
I don't like.
I don't like
speak. I don't like speaking in front of crowds like seriously. I'm enjoying it more now because of repetition. It's just like the podcast. Like, I was so uncomfortable doing this when we first started. It was insane. Insane. But over time, it's like, okay, this feels natural. Like I'm just having a conversation with my buddies. Not a big deal. And that's sort of kind of coming into like the public speaking.
Does a live event still feel that way for you, or do you still get like a little?
Actually, it's been getting a lot better. Like not as many nerves and like when I should insert myself and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I still like if I'm going to perform, I like to perform and goof, or like do some kind of musical thing, right? So that's like my home base that I never get to do, and so it's like one of those things. Eventually it'll make sense for some project that comes up like, oh, hey, go act a fool and do that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I love doing that. But you
remember when
being serious sucks.
Remember when we used to have interviews early on and like Justin's like humor like didn't land because the people didn't.
That was such a hard learning curve for me, dude.
I used to
make a joke and the guest would be like,
they don't know us very well, or they wouldn't hear it.
Trip them up.
Yeah, it would be awkward. It'd be like, They go, what did you,
The fuck did you just say?
Hey, you know what? There was a point though. There was a point where we were having fun.
Man.
I'm not going to say who it was. If you're an OG, you'll probably remember this. But we would have guests on. This is back in the early days. We'd have guests on. And we weren't as picky as we are now, right? And we'd have a guest on because they have a following or something. And then they'd say some stupid shit that all of us are like, huh? But we weren't confident enough to confront them. It would be after the episode, be like, "Oh, I should have said something."
We just give each other looks.
Yeah.
And
so Justin and I came up with a code or something where we would make animal sounds,
animal noises. Like,
real low though, real low. While the person says, and then they would look at us.
It's like, there back in the old episodes. You can hear it. And we're like, this guy's full of shit.
Those are like little Easter eggs in the podcast or whatever.
100%.
What about you, Doug? Is there anything in the business left that you don't like?
It's usually around the financial aspect of things, like
the thing that you do.
I know
well, it's the thing I do.
Hey, we're all like, yeah, we're good. We do everything we like.
It's the thing I do.
The main thing you do.
The day-to-day stuff isn't a problem. It's like
pretty much my whole day.
My whole day,
This sucks, guys.
I hate this job, by the way.
Everyone's like,
I hate it.
How did you guys figure it out? We just pretty much fucking dumped all the shit we did like.
Hey, I do it because it has to be done, right? No.
Sorry, that was really good, right?
No, I mean, every year, of course, there's always transactions that we have to go find out who spent what on what,
That's brutal.
It takes days sometimes to go track down all these various transactions. And to me, that's not enjoyable at all.
Yeah.
But, I just numb myself to it.
You're in a situation, though, where out of the four of us, you have to do it.
I have to do it because I'm the only qualified one.
Well, yeah, and admittedly,
he works with a bunch of idiots.
And admittedly, too, you also are very protective of a lot of our financials and numbers and so that too. So it's an area that you.
We'll find out one day he's embezzling.
Which is why, right? He's got so much goddamn money because he's been scraping the top. No, I mean that's why, right? I mean, there's a part of you that doesn't want to outsource it.
No, I mean, I feel like there's some things that you just can't outsource. And,
you can outsource
and I mean, we have like bookkeeper, accountant, all that stuff, but I still want to have my finger on the pulse of the business. especially in the financial aspect.
Yeah, no, you got to do that. You and Adam both go through
we're
that.
thankful
but
you
manage
do.
it mostly, but it's good. That's
That's
important
why,
stuff.
that's why Doug and I pay ourselves more.
Yeah. See,
I knew it.
here's the deal. I trust. You guys know this. I trust you both with my kids, but I also trust that there's a little like 2 of you guys on there. No way.
There's like
Nobody- some stupid shit.
Yeah, right.
It would have to be
There's so much
conspiracy,
called
right?
the karmatic law. So, just
No, I trust you
You
guys.
can't
with my
ever
kids.
get mad at both of us at the same time. You can piss one of us off.
I
and
go,
it's the
listen,
same
when you guys
boat.
aren't looking, I have all the codes. I go in there, do the math.
Yeah, right. But you couldn't log into any of
Yeah,
this shit.
any passwords.
The guy doesn't even know where his house is. Every third month or so, I'll get a text. Hey, we have a house out here, right? Don't we? It's always from Sal.
Yeah.
We have a property over here, don't we?
Kentucky? No.
I found the best part
we don't.
of all time. What do you hate doing that you still have to do?
I like
Traveling far away.
No, I don't mind that. Like I do, I'm not excited about this flight I'm about to get on right now, so I don't like stuff like that. I'm really particular about last minute flights out, so I'm not happy. So you're right, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I don't. There's not a lot that I don't like. Probably when I don't like when we have to shoot staged content. I hate that. I
Make a face.
It's because it's
Hold
so,
on, you have a
anything
face
artificial,
Yeah.
staged. Yeah.
But have you? Adam has a face though. Can you tell? You could tell. Yeah, he does this like.
it's a crooked smile.
Yeah,
thing,
kinda
yes.
like this, like-
I talk out the side of my mouth. You guys. Say.
I don't know how to do it. You know?
Just,
Yeah, that's it right there. Like
Fuck off, bro.
And you sound like
question
all of
for
a
you
sudden you
real
get a
quick.
southern accent. All of a sudden, I
What?
swear to you, it's a little bit southern. As soon as you
It's
do
because
a
it comes
commercial.
out just from the side.
You know what? I'm talking out the side of my neck. That's what I feel like. You know what I'm saying? I fucking talk out the side of my neck. I don't know. That's why I don't.
So I get
don't
all
like it.
squinty and I'm like, huh?
Yeah. So there's parts like that, and I know Katrina. She's always like, she's the one who probably talks the sense into me, and just like, you can't do everything you love. There's some stuff. There's some of this is work. Some of the stuff you just have to do. So
They're paying you this much money to just save 5 minutes.
yeah. I'd say that's probably the only thing I don't like. Everything else I really I enjoy.
So like we did. What did we do recently? Those Viore commercials. We did Viore commercials
yeah, I don't
where
like
we had
some
to
of that.
film.
I hate that stuff.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I fight.
We got through it. Yeah.
No, it's
we put our own little flavor
Which is
in
funny
there.
because listen,
we have to.
Here's what's interesting about it, because I'm wearing Viore right now. You're wearing
All of
Viore.
us
Are
have
you wearing
Viore.
Viore too?
Yeah, Viore
Yeah.
pants.
So it's not that I'm not. It's not even that like I don't think it's authentic, because I'm not faking it. I
Yeah,
wear
we're
the
really
shit
half
every-
my wardrobe.
Yeah, I wear it every day. I love the brand, but this is normal. Like how we're talking about it right now.
Not like, hey, say something nice.
Yeah, it's like but a lot of these brands, what they want is stuff outside the podcast, which is outside our normal
So
day.
what people don't realize is that what we'll do is we have to sit. This is how we make it comfortable. We sit like we're doing a podcast, and then I ask Adam a question like we're on a podcast, and then it comes out.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it, because otherwise I can't, and I know that the social media game is to be able to talk to the Instagram and just do it that way, but it doesn't feel
almost made the
authentic.
face right now.
I wouldn't. I did the face. Right.
Almost do his
Fuck you, Justin. It doesn't, man. It just is so hard for me. I have such an easier time, saying some real stuff to somebody that is really hard to probably communicate to a lot of people. I could be real
That's
direct.
because that's because you're real. You're not. It feels. I think it feels like
Unfiltered.
acting.
Yeah.
That's it. And that, what? I do feel like that, because I'll get questions, especially from Katrina. She's like, I cannot believe you said that. I said, why? It's the truth. I don't have a problem with the truth. Even if it's hard to hear for someone, or it's hard to say, or whatever. If I believe in my heart it's the truth, or I know it's the truth because it's a fact, I don't have a problem.
I
saying
have
that.
to say something. I got to comment on this. So I've been researching this category of psychotherapy called parts therapy, where a lot of people will develop these different parts of themselves, and it becomes a problem as they get older because they don't integrate them. So to give an example, you might develop a part of yourself that reacts to unpredictable environments. You grew up like this as a kid or whatever. And so then as an adult, and it worked for you as a kid, but then as an adult, maybe you became people pleasing as a result. But then as an adult, it doesn't work. And it's hard for you to integrate that with other parts of yourself. You're actually pretty damn integrated, I have to say. You are exactly the same. I've seen you talk to professionals. I've seen you talk to, people that you definitely wouldn't be considered professionals. I've seen you talk to young people, old people. You're the same across the board, which is why I think sometimes people are like, oh, he's an asshole. You're not. You just don't change. You don't change. If I brought my grandmother in here, you would be almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
You might not say as many bad words, but it's the same. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
I mean,
That's a good thing, dude.
I mean, I tie that all the way back to being a kind of a poor kid growing up. And I've shared this before. When you're in high school, like this is when that stuff really matters to fit in, right? Like when you get to high school, I'd say, and you know this because you have boys and you have kids this age, right? Of like getting in, like that's probably one of the toughest times for a kid is, you know, integrating into school and high school and fitting in and being popular and all that stuff, right? And so one, I bounced around in so many different schools. So I was like thrown in the fire every time. Like, oh, start over, meet new people, meet new friends. I had to do that. Two, we didn't have very much money. So like even the stuff that I wore that looked like it was Nike was like knockoff stuff, or I had cheap brands.
You know what's interesting? You could have gone the opposite direction. You could have changed your personality every time you moved. That's what most people do. You know that, right?
Right.
People that move often will change. I'm like, oh, I can reinvent myself. But you instead went the opposite direction. I'm going to be the same no matter where I go.
Right.
And that's it.
And then I just kind of doubled down on that. And I do feel like I believe in people, right? I believe that the right people appreciate that. I mean, as I think that you appreciate that characteristic. Like if we met each other in high school and crossed paths, we would probably become friends because of that. You'd be like, oh, I like this guy. He's real. Like he dresses weird. Yeah. He's poor, but he's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I could kick it with this dude. And that's kind of how I was. Like, and I latched
ponies.
I latched on to that.
I like you already.
Yeah. Just someone who tried to bully me, probably.
Yeah.
And then we become friends.
Yeah. That's how it would have started. That's kind of how this podcast started.
I mean, I tell you what, that's when people ask me, the one thing I want to give to my son is confidence, right? I want to give him confidence in who he is, right? Like that's what I care about no matter what. Is like if he gets that, like I feel like so many other things fall into place if you're just secure and confident in who you are. And a part of that, I mean, I'll even take it to the religious side, Sal, is like, you know, I believe I'm unique. I believe that God made me a certain way, and I'm special. I believe that. And I'm like, I know, and I wear that like confidently. That hey, there's nobody else like me. There's nobody else that can do me like me. And I think that has.
So why do with someone else?
That's right. Why try and be someone else?
I just feel like that's been so bastardized, like over the years of like that. Our whole culture and environment, it was kind of embracing that fact. It's like, you know, just be authentically yourself. Like you know, don't care about, you know, getting approval from everybody else. And now all of a sudden it's you know, celebrated for you to become somebody else or celebrated for you to become something everybody agrees upon. It's like, just be yourself, you know, like don't fucking care about everybody else.
Or they distort it. And it's the message becomes be yourself. You don't need to improve. That's different.
Right.
Like being yourself doesn't mean you stay the same. You're not the same guy you were 10 years ago when we first met. None of us are.
Yeah.
So that's what they've done is they've distorted. No, you don't need to change. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Listen, you should always try and seek to be better, but the core of who you are, that's what we're talking about.
And I think that's part of that. I think that was part of the formula, right? That was baked into me is the personal growth and trying to be better. Always trying to be a better version. I've always been internally competitive. I'm so competitive. I'm more competitive with myself though than I am anybody else. Mm-hmm. And so that pursuit, while staying true to who you are, is the recipe for what some people think is the asshole.
Yeah,
right. So I think that's where it comes from for sure.
Yeah. We have a free guide. Adam's recipe to become an asshole. Yeah.
It's really funny. You're either really like you're really appreciated, you're really liked for it, or you're really not. It's just, and you have to be comfortable with that.
Well, how can you possibly be liked by everybody unless you change yourself for everybody to make them like you?
That's exactly right. I don't want to be.
Yeah.
So-called like true, like they were all heretics back in the day. Yeah. Like anybody who was like presenting true facts, you know, that went against the grain were like killed. You know, it's like you became, so it's not like a safe route to just be the person that's always going to say the true thing.
Dude, speaking of which, I was watching this documentary on like the evidence for a great flood. I didn't realize there was so much evidence for that. Like when they look at the Grand Canyon and sedimentary layers in the earth.
Getting to the Younger Dryas theory?
Dude, all of it. I know you're like an expert on this. I was watching this and these guys, these archaeologists were explaining like, look, it's more likely. So there's a valley that if you went to go see it right now, it's a canyon. It's a crazy looking canyon. It did not exist when I was born, but now it's this massive canyon. And if we had just saw it now, we'd say, oh my God, it must have taken this river millions of years to create this. But we know Mount St. Helens exploded in 1980, I think it was. Yeah. And the explosion and the ash and whatever created this this canyon. And so these guys in this documentary, they had a bunch of experts, and they were actually making this case, and they're like, the evidence actually shows
it's very rapid erosion. Right?
It was rapid. Yes. It wasn't millions of years. It was like something cataclysmic happened. And we see these sedimentary shelves and whatever that match all over the world.
Yeah.
So it was worldwide.
And water patterns too. So it's just like you can see on the micro scale, you see where like these little creeks, when they dry up and they have that sort of fractal kind of branching off, right? And you see that if you're up in a helicopter and you look at that on the macro scale and like some of these valleys, you can see that same water patterning, but like just way bigger.
Yeah. So, it's like evidence for that there was a worldwide massive cataclysmic flood at what point that created this consistencies on all over the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know.
It's so fun to listen.
How much
to
do we?
this stuff.
Why?
Because you're like the science atheist guy when we all first met like 10 years ago.
Well, this is still science.
No, it is. That's why you were the science atheist guy. Now that you're like the other side of the.
I had one for you, Adam. It was like so they had shown. So a lot of like these fossil records and all this, it's interpretive after like, with dinosaurs, we've always tried to kind of render what we anticipate they might have looked like, you know, and it's like they always kind of end up looking like a velociraptor, and they kind of like make this cartilage and it comes out to a certain point. And, this one time it was with I think it was either a dog or a deer that they found out the skeleton actually was, but they thought it was a dinosaur, like bones. And then they drew it all out and they're like, it was just like this. And it had like this kind of skin and it looked just like a velociraptor. Turns out it's like a deer, So it's like, it's all this artistic interpretation of trying to because guess what? We don't have except for the woolly mammoths, right? That we can actually observe that.
Yeah.
Because it's like we have them frozen, encapsulated. And that's the only time it's like we've nailed exactly what this looks like.
Those dinosaurs my son's all into dinosaurs, so I'm relearning them. When I was a kid, I was super into them. I can't remember the name of the dinosaur looks like a sail on their back.
Yeah.
What are the names of them? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's called a Spinosaurus.
Spinosaur.
Yeah.
Is one of them. Spinosaur is one of them, right? And they showed the bones of.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I'll take 300. I only know that because my son's into dinosaurs. Right?
What's your reading?
I never get to play this game.
Did you guys have? This is an important question, by the way. I'm surprised we've never asked each other this. I'm actually embarrassed. What was your favorite dinosaur when you were a kid? This is very important. Very important.
Okay.
I was a Triceratops guy.
You were?
Yeah,
really? Wow. What about you?
Brontosaurus.
You were. Wait,
what does that say about
Brontosaurus?
Yeah.
I would never guess that.
I loved it.
Why?
It's so big.
Really?
Yeah.
It was so big.
I felt like I would have been that guy riding it, just like,
So I like Triceratops too. That was my second favorite. My first favorite actually had a rig. My first favorite was Ankylosaurus.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because he had the club tail.
Yeah, Max likes the Ankylosaurus.
Does he really?
Yeah, because he's got the little spiky tail.
I wish I'd like a T-Rex, but I wasn't that cool.
Everybody likes T-Rex.
Yeah, that's why
if your favorite dinosaur is a T-Rex,
you're just Gennaro kid.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Basic.
Think more.
So basic.
Everybody likes T-Rex. But anyway, the dinosaur with the sail on its back, I forgot what animals have this now. Maybe bison. They said, this could have been an attachment point for very massive back muscles. So instead of it being a sail, it was a very muscular dinosaur with these really, really powerful.
Right, because you don't know the meat.
No, because it's
and they spines up that high.
I forgot what animal they were.
We got the whole
hump.
skin and feather thing all wrong. I mean, it's like how many of these things. I wish I remember where I first what first made me question all that stuff so much, because I think I remember seeing like the way they even piece all the bones together. I mean, it's not even like a good puzzle, bro. It's not even like.
Well, they've messed up and even had human fossil heads and then put it on top of an animal body. And they're like, hey, look at this new specimen.
This works. This must be let's name it.
Just as Triceratops.
Sorry, no.
Who knows? But yeah, it's interesting. I bet they looked a lot different than we thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely don't know how they sound.
Yeah.
They could have been like.
I hope we get to find out. However this thing plays out, you know what I'm saying? Whether we're in a simulation,
I don't know.
God, whatever it is.
Bembe, dude.
I hope
still exists.
okay, so those are things for you. Like if you got when this thing, whatever this is, right? Simulation, God, whatever ends, and we get the chance potentially. Like, what would your ask? Your one ask. You got one ask that you get to see, do, whatever. Like, what's that? What is that?
What would I ask?
Because you guys, I feel like you
I
guys
want to know the origin.
Yeah. See, I feel like you guys are historians that you would want origin stuff, right?
Yeah. Did we come from Mars, and then come here?
No. He's gonna know what he's gonna do is be like, did you not read how I made you?
Yeah.
He's gonna piss him off, dude.
But that's
What a
like
stupid question.
there's a lot of open, questions within that. That he just like broad scale. Like this is how I did it.
Yeah.
It's like cool, but I want to know details.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I would ask. That's a good question. I have no idea.
I would think you would either go historian way or like family way. Like you'd want to I want to meet my great grandparents or something like that. Like that would be cool too, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That'd be.
I don't have a lot of family heritage, so that one doesn't strike me as much. I probably want to just.
Do you have a question that you would ask?
Yeah, I want him to explain how wrong carbon dating is, and dinosaurs, how fucking wrong everybody was.
Give me
Just some
all the validation,
I want
please.
some validation because my buddies were making fun of me.
Oh
for
yeah,
it.
the dinosaurs. I drowned them all with the flood. Haven't you read that?
He's like, no, those were just big cats. You know, what I'm saying? Those cats were bigger back in the days.
It would be cool to watch like a really long movie about how everything happened.
I think that's going to be something that we're going to see. I think is going to be really neat in our lifetime. And I don't know why. Maybe I don't know if Doug's ever looked this up for me or not. But I feel like we already now with social media has been around 20 years now. Somebody who passed away that has a lot of that digital content. How cool would it be like, like the grave sites where you're pushed in the stone or what that, like on the front is like a digital screen and you can like watch like a.
I don't know how I'd feel about that.
Really?
I visited, so I haven't.
I would like that.
So ever since my grandfather passed away a couple years ago, I haven't visited his, where he was buried. I have a tough time with that, so I just haven't. My cousin came to visit. I went to go, he's like,
you just did that.
He did. He's like, let's go visit.
Yeah.
No. So we went. He had his picture there. It's very hard. I have a very tough time processing those kinds of emotions. I'm super avoidant with them. So I sat there and I couldn't imagine a digital screen with him talking to me. I think I would be more, I don't know. It would make me even less comfortable. Or
Interesting.
More,
Interesting. Yeah. That's your own shit, right? That's not
of course.
Yeah. Like I think that would be cool for the rest of your family and everybody else would love that.
To go talk to not him, but
well, no, you wouldn't have
like
to.
him?
I'm not okay. I mean, now you're going like to AI.
that's what I thought.
AI. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking like
Like a
literally just like
hologram?
I think of the long like a long Instagram story. Like it's the story of his life. Like you
And
can
he's
see,
talking?
sure.
You just go through.
Yeah, just go through it. Like imagine your
watch.
Instagram stories, but imagine us. We have so much digital content we've put out. Imagine if like there was a service that you paid, that like an editing team.
What is
when
this,
when you die and say it's a $10,000 package, and they put together from birth to death a video collage of you.
That's different.
Yeah.
Well, that's a digital tombstone Doug pulled up there.
Yeah, digital tombstone is basically just photos and videos of the person, and you can also put headphones on and listen to all.
See,
Okay.
that's sick.
Huh.
Hey, I tell you,
That's sick.
Hey, what's weird though? When's the last time you guys?
Like I would so broad. This is like something I think about this a lot because I don't have much of my dad. I have so little like.
You don't even have a lot of pictures on.
No, hardly any. Handful of pictures of my dad.
I've never seen what your dad looks like.
like me.
Really, a lot like you?
Yeah. Have you seen my Uncle John before? Remember my Uncle John? Yeah. He looks. We all look. The three of us look a lot.
Wow.
Especially now I've gotten older and lost my hair, so we all look alike. So yeah, very very much similar. I'll show you a picture sometime. But I mean, this would be so rad. Like it would be a part of something that I would definitely like once a year at least come back and visit. And
You know what's crazy? When's the last time you guys have been to like a graveyard or where people get
I don't
buried?
go.
Has it been a long time?
Yeah, I'm like you like that.
You don't like it?
Yeah, I'm very avoidant of that.
Yeah. So I when I was there for my grandfather, I walked around a little bit and you start looking at like, oh, this person was born here, and man, there were a couple. There was one dude who was younger than me who passed away, and he had just become a doctor. And then he died. I felt so bad. I showed his picture.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh my God, it's terrible. Yeah. So I don't like going to those places.
I hear that.
Anyway, look, shout out. Let's shout out our guide, our How to Squat Like a Pro guide. That guide's going crazy, by the way. Have you seen how many people are downloading that one?
Yep.
So this is a guide that literally breaks down how to squat like a pro, mobility, exercises, program, the whole deal. It's totally free. It's mindpumpfree.com. It's How to Squat Like a Pro guide. Go check it out. Look, you've heard us talk a lot about peptides, GLP-1s, for example, but there's other peptides, ones that speed up recovery and healing, raise growth hormone, help burn body fat, build muscle, give you better sleep, boost your immune system. Anyway, peptides are incredible. We work with experts in the field who can prescribe you. These are real doctors prescribing peptides and can teach you how to use them. Go to mphormones.com if you're interested. By the way, they also do hormone replacement therapy. So if your testosterone's low and you need to take exogenous testosterone, the doctors there can also help you out. Again, it's mphormones.com. All right, back to the show.
First question is from Ivo Machado 8. Thoughts on natural supplements to boost testosterone?
Only work if you have low testosterone.
Yeah, that's what they look like. Okay, so let's start with this first. If your testosterone is dampened or low because of a nutrient deficiency, supplements can make a big difference, right? So if your zinc is low,
Vitamin D.
if your vitamin D is low, boron is a trace mineral. Those tend to really affect testosterone when they're low. And you can go get tested. And if you have low testosterone, go get your nutrients tested. And if those are low, supplement with them. And then you should see a significant improvement. Then when it comes to supplements, the best supplement I've seen for actually raising low testosterone is ashwagandha. The data on that one is the best. Next would be Shilajit. And, Organifi has a really good Shilajit product. That seems to be very effective as well. But even with how much they raise testosterone, it's not like this huge mega boost in raise.
Yeah, I feel like this question comes from, I asked this question, I remember as a teenager, a young boy trying to build muscle, and I learned that testosterone builds muscle, and
So
I
raising
knew
it should-
and then I knew there was lots of test boosters out there, and so of course I bought all of them thinking that would help. I failed to realize was that if you already have naturally good testosterone or high, especially if you're 17 years old, like I was at the time looking for this, it's not going to do anything for you.
No.
It will move the needle for somebody who's got really low testosterone. It'll give you this like artificial boost. But to your point, many times somebody who is suffering from low testosterone, there's also other lifestyle factors
That's
that
almost
can make
always
it, can make it dramatic. Like you're probably not
Sleep,
getting
sunlight,
not getting enough sleep.
lifting
Maybe
heavy.
you're calorie deprived, not strength training.
Too much stress.
Yeah, too much
Not
stress.
enough fat.
So those things will move the needle as much or more than the natural boosters. And when I came off testosterone years ago, when we were doing this podcast, I went on a little over 2-year stint of,
And I put you on all the stacks.
yeah, and Sal had me on the Tongue Cat Ali. We had you on ashwagandha. You had me on
horny goat weed.
I think I had horny goat weed too. You had me on everything, and I did notice a little bit of a boost. What it felt like was it helped a little bit, and then it kind of like leveled off, and then I never.
You would
really,
feel a little rise in libido.
yeah,
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it. And I actually remember reporting back to Sal that of all the things I was doing, I actually noticed a bigger difference the day after I did like a heavy squat day or a deadlift day, like a good heavy strength training day seemed to naturally.
That's one of the
boost
best
my-
movers. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of boosts my levels more than anything. That and getting adequate
The
sleep.
other part of this too is you raise your testosterone, but you can also make the current testosterone you have more effective by increasing androgen receptor density, meaning the amount of receptors that testosterone attaches to. Strength training does that. This is why when you lift weights, you notice like you have more testosterone, even if it doesn't raise your testosterone, because as you build muscle, your muscles is part of the building process, increase the amount of androgen receptors that they have. So now whatever levels of testosterone, let me put it this way. If your testosterone is at 500 total and you double your androgen receptors, it's like having 1,000 testosterone because now that 500 goes that much further. So, and that's what strength training does quite consistently, is it increases your androgen receptor density. There is a supplement, I will say this, that will reliably raise testosterone in anybody, but it's for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then after that, it doesn't do it anymore. It's called D-aspartic acid. And you will feel a testosterone boost, but it lasts like 30 days and then it doesn't really do anything anymore. And along with that rise can come estrogen as well, just FYI. But that is that one.
Next question is from eLizard10E. Can you build muscle on MAPS 15?
Oh my
Oh,
God.
yes, you can.
It's probably of all of our programs, when you consider our huge audience, it's probably the one that will build the most muscle in most people. I would say MAPS Anabolic would kind of be up there, but MAPS 15 is very close because it's appropriate. It's appropriate volume and frequency and intensity of strength training. When we first created the program, I followed a MAPS 15-ish style workout because we were going to promote it. And I saw, and Adam was raving about what he was feeling. And I hit a PR in deadlifts, which I hadn't done in a decade. And I broke an old PR on accident just from that style of training.
I mean, it's a little, but it's spread out volume. It's like, I think people like, they look at it from a workout for just that day. And it's like, oh, this is like barely anything. And like, they're not taking into account like all these other days we're stringing together. And then too, like how much this is like priming you and like solidifying the signal to be in an anabolic state. And it's like, it really does like impact you in such a profound way.
I thought what it really highlighted for me and what I think I see in people was that just the over application of volume and intensity for people that like to work out. And
Don't need to do it that long.
I think that what it really shows you is that, you know, the nutrition, the sleep, the recovery part is the bigger piece of the puzzle here. And especially if you do something that's well programmed, you hit the movers that are going to really move the needle when it comes to building muscle and strength, which it's programming in its simplest form, right? It was like, this is when you hear us say things like the goal is to do the least amount possible to elicit the most change. It is that. It's
that
like,
program right there.
it is literally that is like, okay, these are, if we could only do certain amount of exercises in a certain amount of time for only so many days, like the least amount, what does it look like? That's map 15. And the truth is, wow, to me, all the crazy amounts of responses that we got of people hitting PRs and building muscle and also just highlights how much stress and, you know, lack of nutrients
also
and
that
overtraining that
strength
people
training is so effective at low doses. People have no freaking idea. It's extremely effective at low dose. It's what makes it. It's probably the one thing that makes it most unique among other forms of exercise. Other forms of exercise in tiny doses don't have a tremendous effect. MAPS 15 is 15 minutes a day. Was it 5 or 6 days a week? And the advanced version is 20 minutes with barbells. And you'll build muscle and get stronger. It's that really. And by the way, there are lots of studies now that show this. There are studies that show an isometric contraction once a day in untrained individuals dramatically boosts their strength. There's studies on trained individuals where they take a week off after every 3 weeks, and they built the same amount of muscle and strength as a group that did this, went all the way through and never took a week off. So I think we've completely overestimated how much strength training you need for optimal results. And this program is completely highlights it.
Next question is from Meg Chow 91. What priming exercises do you guys recommend doing before bench pressing?
You know, of all the exercises, I primed before bench press first. That's the exercise I figured out priming with before I even understood what priming was.
I had to.
And the best exercise that I did, and I still think, generally speaking, it's a good way to get good at your bench press, is to do a row before you bench press.
Yeah.
To activate and strengthen and work on that scapular retraction and depression, that tight, shoulder girdle. And that comes from rows. And what's funny is that back in the day when I was a kid working out, I'd see these heavy bench pressers in the gym, these older guys that could lift, 3-4 plates on the side, on each side. And I'd see them grab the bar of the bench press and row their body to the bench press for reps and then get back down, settle themselves, and then bench. I always thought, what are they doing? They were priming. They were priming.
Yeah. I would say 2 sets of W's, 2 sets of rows. That's like my go-to. 2 sets of W's, 2 sets of rows in that order too. W's, I like them so much because like it wakes up all those stabilizer muscles in your shoulders. And sometimes I get that kind of loose, kind of clicky feeling a little bit in my shoulder. And so it really wakes up all the stabilizers and gets those primed and ready to stabilize my shoulder. And then the priming of the, upper back from the rows to get me in the most optimal position. The combination of that, I'm set. I'm ready to go lift heavy. And that's literally the formula. Every
I'll
time
do band rows and to your point of, set my shoulders back, but really like what took me beyond what I was capable of doing bench wise, I was doing a lot of, and I showed you guys when I was doing Indian club swings, and it was really just because it hit all those different points of rotation, and it was just to get that to kick in the lift, and so I have that as my stabilizing unit that's like ready and active, and they're contributing because now I could add and apply more force.
I would go. You got me on a kick doing Indian clubs from here for a while. Like I don't have clubs in my house. But that would, if I wasn't doing W's, I'd be doing clubs. Both those give me that like warm the shoulder up and get all the stabilizers in your shoulder.
Stick dislocates were good too for me. I use those as a trainer a lot. But the way I would always with my clients, it was rows, light rows, focusing on squeezing, pull the shoulders down and back, and then stick dislocates. That was the second one that I would use. And then there's of course priming that's specific to the client, depending on their issue. But those, generally speaking, I think across the board.
I think so too. And by the way, this is if you go to Mind Pump TV and you go to YouTube and just put Mind Pump and then bench press primers, we did videos on this stuff.
Next question is from Yalitza Garcia Double G. How can a new mom mitigate the effects of lack of sleep for recovery and muscle building?
Here's the thing about sleep. You can do things that'll help you deal with the lack of sleep by helping you stay a little bit more alert, or give you a little better function. Caffeine. You could try other wakefulness products, drink more water, etc.
Shouldn't we be more concerned about muscle preserving as opposed to muscle building when your sleep's so impaired?
Yeah, here's the deal. You can't get around lack of sleep. You cannot get around lack of sleep. So what you should do, there's two approaches here when it comes to sleep. One is get more sleep. That's obvious. Get it where you can. And sometimes rest helps a little bit, meaning you're a new mom. You hear this all the time. I know new moms hate this because it doesn't work this way, but I mean, how many guys will say this to their wife or right? When the baby takes a nap, why don't you just nap? And new moms want to strangle them because a mom is so vigilant that when the baby takes a nap, they're wired and they can't go to sleep. But laying down, closing your eyes, even if you don't sleep, does have some beneficial effects. But get more sleep would be number one. Number two is improve the quality of the sleep that you do get. So it's very alluring as a new mom to when the baby goes down, you're still tired, you need to wind down, you get on social media or you watch TV, you're exposing yourself to electronic light, that's that type of stuff. You have to prioritize sleep because nothing can replace it. There's nothing I could tell you that's going to make up for it.
No, you're not going to make up for it. In fact, the conversation I have with this client is, I'm more concerned about you doing more things that are going to make it worse, right? So to Justin's point about at this point, you're not going to build any muscle. It's about muscle preservation. So what are some of the things that I don't want you doing that's going to make that worse? And so I think a mistake that this mom who lacks in sleep is doing is, overdoing stuff or trying to go in the gym and make up for it by lifting weights or pushing her body really intensely. Like the sleep, the recovery part is so important. You're better off getting more sleep and getting another meal and a protein meal so your body's getting adequate protein to hang on than you are to go into your garage gym or go to the gym and go push your body and try and work out because you're worried you're going to lose muscle. So that's how important the sleep and recovery piece is that what you can do when you can't control that, right? You can't control if the baby has a rough night of sleeping or you just can't get sleep because of whatever the case may be. Obviously, that's the first priority to try and achieve that. If you can't, then really what you need to look at is what other things am I doing that aren't filling my bucket, right? And you brought up the phone, being late on your phone, staring at a screen, not a good idea. Doing things that are going to be super stressful for you, not a good idea. Finding places for you to rest, get massages, recover, downtime, think internally, and things that are going to bring down the stress is what I would be communicating to this client.
Totally. Look, we have a guide. It's How to Squat Like a Pro. Teaches you how to squat like a pro. Priming movements, warm-ups, exercises, technique, the whole deal. It's a free guide. You can find it at mindpumpfree.com. You can also find us on Instagram. Justin is at mindpumpjustin. I'm at mindpumpdestefano, and Adam is at mindpumpadam.